Hey guys, it's Benny. So I actually get a lot of questions online about the scope of homeopathic practice in Ontario. Well, I get it about all of Canada, but I can really speak to Ontario best, as that is where I am registered. So in Ontario, unlike a lot of provinces in Canada, homeopaths are a regulated health profession, so that there are definite benefits to that. I think it's a huge benefit to the public. So for example, no one can call themselves a homeopath unless they have graduated from an accredited program. So, it's great from the public's perspective because, someone who just took a class online once that was a half hour long can't then make a website and call themselves a homeopath in Ontario, right? You have to have gone to an accredited school, which is a couple years long. It also requires working for many hundreds of hours with patients before you get your degree. So it's not like you're trying out your first patient, Once you're released into the public, the first time you see patients, you are always supervised by another homeopath for many, many times before you are released into the general public. And then, of course, if anything were to happen, because we are regulated, there's a place for patients to make a complaint, other than having to, directly involve the police, which would be what you would have to do if we were unregulated, right? And it means that we're held to professional standards. So, don't sleep with your patients. And one thing that is a little bit controversial in homeopathy, because some people like to do it, is because we are a regulated health profession, we're not supposed to give placebo because that is against informed consent. The patient has to know what they are receiving. So if you're going to give them placebo, you have to say, I'm giving you placebo. And I know a lot of homeopaths don't like that because a lot of people like prescribing placebo. I don't. I think it's a fantastic thing. I love informed consent. We can't do stuff to people and not tell them. It's to me, it's a big no-no. But that's just my personal ethics. So I'm a huge fan of that one. Now, going back more to the true scope of practice, I find it very funny in Ontario that this is true for naturopaths too. It's we're a regulated health professional, but not really treated like a regulated health professional. So as a homeopath, I don't actually have much of a scope of practice. I don't really have any. Anyone in Ontario can prescribe a homeopathic remedy. It does not matter whether or not they've had any training. The only thing that is protected is our title. So only homeopaths in Ontario who have registered with the College of Homeopaths in Ontario can call themselves a homeopath. But anyone can do what we do. Nothing is protected. And we can't do anything else, anything that's protected. And that's because we're not trained in it. So homeopaths cannot diagnose, they cannot perform minor surgeries, they cannot do anything that breaks the skin barrier. So no acupuncture, no injecting with anything else, and no internal exams. Your homeopath cannot give you a gynae, okay? And that's because homeopaths aren't trained in Ontario. We are trained in homeopathy, that is it. The reason I had brought up naturopaths is because, so, as you may or may not know, I went to the College of Naturopaths as well in Ontario, although I didn't register as a naturopath. And I always found it funny in school because we would learn the gynae exams and then be but in Ontario, if you do a gynae exam on your patient and anything comes back positive, they have to go back to their doctor anyway, because the doctor's the one that can make the referral and do all this stuff. So it was so weird. It was you are allowed to do lab work, you are allowed to do this, you're allowed to do that. But if anything is actually wrong, you have to send them to the doctor because you're not a real doctor. I don't know. It's super weird. But, reason number 100 why I didn't end up registering. So I hope that answers basic questions. To add to the list of things we're not allowed to do, we're not allowed to call ourselves doctors in Ontario if you are just registered as a homeopath. And because the registration is to protect the public. It is not to protect the homeopath. It is to protect the public, and its job is also to protect the image of homeopaths, because if we get up all kinds of shenanigans, then we're not going to be, the government is not going to love us that much and not allow us to be self-regulated. So right now, homeopaths are the ones who are in charge of the College of Homeopaths. So we have a little bit of, it's more internal, which is nice. But if we got up to all kinds of shenanigans, the government probably wouldn't be super okay with that, and we might lose the self-regulation. And so they're always looking out for our public image, which, has drawbacks. Although I love being regulated overall. But like a lot of the big drawbacks are in marketing. There's a lot of stuff that other people do, having testimonials on their website, having lots of letters after their name. We're not really allowed to do that because it makes us sound like a specialist. Like, technically, in Ontario, homeopaths aren't even allowed to call themselves a classical homeopath or a orthodox homeopath or a Hahnemannian homeopath, because it makes them sound like a specialist. I think that's a little bit annoying, only because when I'm a patient, I actually like being able to read all of that stuff because I can see what the practitioner is interested in and what they spend time in studying. If they've got extra certificates in fertility or pediatrics or mental health or whatever, I can see where their interests lie, and I can see if there's someone I really want to go see. And technically, we're really not allowed to put any of that on our website except in our bio. So you can't, have a bunch of letters after your name or follow your name with classical homeopath or something. You can only put it into your bio. Anyway, yeah, that's that. All right, till next time.